I would like to propose that we discuss the position that the church has taken on the vaccines, specifically related to the statements of 2015 and 2021.
Fair enough, because I feel as if I'm experiencing a coup attempt, and I don't like that feeling in my church. I think the church has a place for the voice of the laity, and the laity is expressing a position that needs to be listened to.
Yeah.
The demands of the internet and all that, we understand, and we're trying to adapt around it. We're trying to adjust around it. I am not in
Sorry,
St. Louis
dear
right
brother,
now.
sorry, I have to stop you.
That we
Who are
stand
these people?
united in asking this body not to put that issue on the agenda.
Hello friends, welcome to I Love Truth TV. I'm Brother Rafi, and today we are going to look at a video of Pastor Ted Wilson on the General Conference on June 8th. I think this was on June 2022. And this video I would like to share with you because the contents of this is very disturbing in terms of the issue which has now surfaced in regards to Dr. Conrad Vine, in which he protested the leadership of the General Conference lack of sympathy and transparency and lack of accountability in terms of their response with the COVID-19 pandemic and their stance on the vaccination. So in this video, you'll see several people who questioned the church's official stance on vaccination, which they released. They released a statement on October 25 of 2021, and we're going to look at that later. But listen to how they respond, the GC leaders respond to the questions that were being presented by the members all over the world. So without further ado, let's look at this video.
COVID has caused a lot of problems in our church, and it's caused a lot of problems for our members. I would like to propose that we discuss the position that the church has taken on the vaccines, specifically related to the statements of 2015 and 2021. Because of these positions that the church has taken, many people have suffered.
Yeah.
I have a document that was signed by 25,000 Seventh-day Adventists in 138 countries, by 1,929 pastors, and by 4,164 medical professionals. And they are asking that we reconsider our stance on vaccination.
That's a lot of people.
And I would move that this be added to the agenda. I think it is extremely important for bringing our church together through this time.
Yeah,
this has been
I
a very
agree.
divisive situation. It's been a situation where many people have lost their jobs, their livelihood. Some people have lost their homes. People have lost their custody battles. And a lot of it is due to the fact that they're not able to assert their sincerely religious held beliefs because of the position of the church. Now, I don't know what the right solution is, but I trust that this body can come to that solution. And I think it's very important that we have a discussion of this.
Thank you, Brother Jonathan. We really appreciate your concern.
Look at how they respond to this.
Really, the General Conference in session deals with items of constitution and bylaws, of items that concern our church manual or our fundamental beliefs.
They're more concerned about the manual.
Coming to this level. But the issue of vaccination, we know it is a very divisive issue, and actually the document that was proposed by the administration committee has given a full right for everyone to follow their own conscience. So there was no push in one or the other direction. And so we would really plead with you, because we have a shortened session, that we don't load our agenda with items that really don't belong there.
So he said that we are free to make our own decisions, but the government does not give those people the options. Some of these people were kicked out of their jobs. They couldn't support their families, lost their livelihood, and even got in trouble with their health. When you review the previous message of Dr. Conrad Vine or my previous video, I talked about that. He talked about some of the examples of the horrors of some of these people suffered because of the vaccine. And this is so unsympathetic. They don't even want to talk about it.
So, but we really appreciate your concern.
We appreciate your concern.
What the statement has done. I've
But we're not
represented
gonna talk
many
about it.
people in religious liberty matters, and that statement has been very detrimental. And I would ask that you ask for a second. I would ask for a second.
That's fair. That's fair.
So there is no second. Thank you very much for helping me, because
Look at how quick he decides that there's no second.
Know that there are people that are online in Canada that are
He
wishing
brought a
to make a
petition.
second at this time.
He brought a petition signed by more than 25,000 people. He's serious. This guy is serious. And he was just shut down.
thank you very much, dear brother. We have heard you. We have not heard a second, and we will move on.
Look how quickly he
Thank you.
decides there's no
I would like to
second.
make an appeal of this decision.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Wow.
much. All right, we will, since there are no more objections, we will accept the agenda and move on.
Hello,
Yes,
can
please.
you hear me? My name is Grace McIntosh, and there was a request for either in the session or online for a second to Jonathan Zirkle's motion.
There's a
and I
second.
Sorry, we have a motion on the floor that we are now discussing. We are discussing of accepting in the sisterhood of our churches a number of unions. So this is now the motion that is in front of us. Thank you very
It took
much.
a while to get to
All
the
right.
right place to
Are you
be able to
ready
get
to
the-
accept
Wait.
those unions?
Look at how he cuts her off.
I see on
Who is this person?
Zoom 101, Tobacco Mission. Yes, please.
My issue
He doesn't
concerns the
even
same issue
listen.
before. The internet challenges has caused the delay in responding to these issues, and I've seconded the motion as well.
He seconded as
So
well.
it's a challenge. I'm not sure if you're going to go back to it so we can look at it, because we have a situation where we have been voting by common consensus, and an issue was raised regarding the agenda, and the agenda passed based on common consensus. But an issue was raised, which I think it's important that the church be the one to determine if it is a fundamental issue or a fundamental belief. I think it's important that the church decides that. So it has been raised, and I think there are many on the floor who would second it, and I'd like the chair to be fair enough, because I feel as if I'm experiencing a coup attempt, and I don't like that feeling in my church. I think the church has a place for the voice of the laity, and
I
the
agree.
laity is
I
expressing
agree.
a position that needs to be listened to.
Yeah.
The demands of the internet and all that, we understand, and we're trying to adapt around it. We're trying to adjust around it. I am not in
Sorry,
St. Louis
dear
right now.
brother. Sorry, I have to stop you because we are discussing now.
He's cutting him off.
The motion on the table is to accept unions into the sisterhood
Yeah.
of our fellowship. So this is the motion, and we are now speaking directly only to this motion. Sorry for that. There are a number of people who wish to speak to the issue of vaccination. I will ask you, please wait till we handle this issue, and then I will
Then
come
this
back
the
to you.
list of the names who
Okay,
petition,
you have
signed a petition.
2 minutes,
Right.
please.
I understand that I'm unmuted. It is a hybrid session, and you did ask for a second. And I did text right away that I would like to second. I just didn't get to the right chat room in time. And I would like to second Jonathan Zirkle's motion. We've had great difficulty in Canada as well because of the way the statements have been worded, because of the way our law is being applied.
All right. Since this time we have quite a challenge to get immediately all the responses from the Zoom, we will provide you a chance and see if the body wishes to come back to this issue or not. Then we will accept your second as a second, and we will ask if
So we'll get back to
we
you on that
can.
one.
How is the internet right now? Can we have?
Can't believe this guy.
Mr. Chairman, we are working on that. I would like to remind everyone that it is working for the vast majority of delegates. We had over 1,000 votes, so we will continue to work on that. Because of the hybrid nature of this meeting, unless we are going to disenfranchise those online or have an even more cumbersome, we need to get this system working. So we're working on it technically, but it is working for large parts of the building, and hopefully it'll be working for our folks over here on the left.
All right. Thank you very much. We will ask now Elder Wilson for a comment.
And you know, when the first guy asked for a second, he did not even give time for a response, and he just moved on to his discussion. He didn't even give it a chance to wait for the people online to say, we second it. It's just immediately he just dismissed them. And now listen to this. This is the best part. Look at what he says. Look at what Pastor Ted Wilson says. Oh.
My dear delegates and friends on site and online, in reference to the issue that has been brought up by a delegate regarding vaccinations, since it has been seconded, it is fair enough for us to vote on that. But I want to strongly urge, and I have the consent and agreement of my fellow officer, Captain Kohler, my other fellow officer, Paul Douglas, that we stand united in asking this body not to put that issue on the agenda.
Can you believe what just happened? It's just the voice of the 25,000 plus people who signed the petition, including the people who brought their, who seconded. There's actually 3 people there. That's very symbolic, 3 in the Bible. And he also brought his own support, people who say, because of these 2 people as well who support, let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it. That's not good. That's not a good look.
For the reasons that have already been enunciated by our chair, first of all, it is not a constitution and bylaws item.
Okay.
Secondly,
just semantics.
It is not a church manual item.
Okay.
Thirdly, it is not a fundamental belief item.
Okay.
Now, there may be individuals who will disagree with me and others, saying it is my fundamental right to be able to make a choice as to whether or not I wish to receive the vaccination, a vaccination, some vaccination, or not. And the General Conference has very much stood on the position that everyone should make their own decision. The General Conference has made a statement in regards to vaccinations, but the General Conference has not mandated that people take the vaccination. It has given people a choice. So rather than for us to become embroiled in something which is not an agenda item for a general conference, it is an administrative item. It has been dealt with. Some people don't like the way it has been dealt with, and that is their right. But rather than for us to become embroiled in something, thank you, it is in your hands.
Is in our hands, but without any support from the General Conference. Let's see what their actual statement is that they put out, and see if what he's saying is true. This is the statement they put out on October 25, 2021. Here it says, okay, here. Before mentioning vaccines, the statement talks about, this is in Spectrum magazine. It says, the statement talks about the Adventist health message, how its principles enhance and maintain healthy immunity. Then it goes on, beyond those benefits of healthy lifestyle principles and preventive public health practices, the Church affirms and recommends the responsible use of vaccines as an important public health measure, especially during a pandemic. At the same time, the Church respects the rights of individuals' freedom of choice for those who choose not to be vaccinated. Does it sound like there's a choice there? It seems to me like they recommend the vaccine. If you don't get the vaccine, you don't get their support, because they did not give religious exemption. That means if you refuse to get the vaccine, some employers can terminate you. And we talked about this on the previous sermon of Dr. Conrad Vine. He exposed this, that there was a man who wanted to get the exemption but was not given by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And because of that, despite his, he wasn't fully convinced that this is the right thing to do, but he feared to lose his job, his house, his means of, livelihood, sustain himself and his family. He chose to get the vaccine and got a brain bleed, got paralyzed, lost his job. If you have freedom of choice, but then you leave them to the hands of the government who mandates it, are you really protecting your church? He said, oh, you're free to have it or not. But you're not really free if there's a mandate. The best thing that the church could have done is at least to give them an exemption, so that there is freedom of choice. Isn't that what we're here for? Well, and the way he said it too, do not put this in the agenda. They did not even address those people's concerns. The petition signed by 25,000 people did not even want to talk about it on the meeting. And they cite reasons, oh, this is not the right time. This is a different meeting. We're on a different motion now. You responded too slow on your second. That is just sad. This is just terrible. Now, if I had seen this before, now I can see why people respond very strongly in favor of Dr. Conrad Vine's sentiments because of this. I wish I had seen this video sooner. This was in 2022, June 2022, and I could not believe what he just said. I was working as a nurse in the emergency department during 2022. I was not even paying attention to any of these things happening. I wish I had. You know what? This is a bad look for a servant of God. Did Jesus ever do this to his followers? I want to ask you. In fact, Jesus, God, even God himself, when there's an issue, he wants us to come reason with him. You could probably see the text there, but we'll go there. Isaiah 1:18. Come now, let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they shall be as wool. This is the God of the universe. And yet he invites us to reason with him, to wrestle with him, to talk to him about our concerns. Whenever there's disputes or any fightings, concerns, sadness, I'm going to read to you several things here. And let's go to Mark 9:33. Mark 9:33. They were reasoning within themselves who would be the greatest. And what did Jesus answer them? What was it you disputed among yourselves on the road? But they kept silent, for on the road they had disputed among themselves who would be the greatest. And he sat down, called the 12, and said to them, if anyone desires to be first, he shall be last of all and servant of all. Can you imagine that? Jesus wants to silence the disputes. He wants to settle down his followers. If there's an issue, he would respond to it immediately. Another one, when remember that time when they were reasoning, when Jesus was talking about did you have any bread? And they were saying, oh, it was because we didn't bring any bread. And they reasoned among themselves, oh, maybe Jesus is talking to us. He's telling us, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. And so when they heard Jesus telling them, why are you talking to yourselves about you didn't have bread? So he's reading their minds, what their concerns are, and he quiets their concerns by responding to it. And look what is the General Conference president is doing to us. Another example I can share to you, Luke 24, the story of the two disciples of Jesus in the road to Emmaus. You probably know this one. Know this one very well in Luke 24, verse 13. Now behold, two of them are traveling the same day to a village called Emmaus, which was 7 miles from Jerusalem, and they talked together of all these things which had happened. Jesus died, was crucified, and so it was while they conversed and reasoned that Jesus himself drew near and went with them. They didn't know that Jesus was resurrected, and so Jesus drew himself near to them. But their eyes were restrained so that they did not know him. And he said to him, what kind of conversation is this that you have with one another as you walk and are sad? Does Jesus care about how you feel? Absolutely. He cares when you're sad, when you're struggling. And yet the indifference that we see here, don't add it to the agenda. Let's not even talk about it. Despite the voices of 25,000, actually 26,000 plus people online and on site who asked for a discussion at least about this. And look how they treated those people. I don't know what's going on here. This is very suspicious. And look, this is the last part I'm going to share. As servants of Christ, you are given a higher calling. When you are put in the position, God expects you to be a minister. Just like Jesus came not to be served, but to serve. And he gave us an example. In John 13, there was an example when Jesus washed his disciples' feet. He washed his disciples' feet. And look at this. So when he had washed their feet, taking his garments, sat down again, he said to them, do you know what I have done unto you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you say, well, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Most assuredly I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is he who is sent greater than he who sent them. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. The least that he could do is at least listen to their concerns. Wow. This is another reminder Psalms 118 verse 8. Let's go there. Psalms 118 verse 8. This is actually the middle verse in the Bible. You know what it is? It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in princes. Don't trust man. Ultimately, let's put our faith in God, seeing what is being done to us by our leaders. But this does not mean that we shouldn't pray for them. I think all the more that we should pray for these people, because I think he is not seeing clearly what is ahead of him and how indifferent they are to these people. How indifferent to the concerns of the church body. If I had seen this video, I could have given a better assessment on Dr. Conrad Vine's concerns. Seeing this, I could understand why Dr. Conrad Vine said what he said, because they were ignored at the GC session. He had no other choice but to speak up. And I appreciate that. And that we should talk about this. We should escalate this until they will have to respond to us one way or another. And we need to protect one another. That's what the job is of a shepherd of the flock, isn't it? And yet they're so concerned about the bylaws, the manual. Think about this. If there's an emergency, a health emergency like we just had, think about this. This is just a parable. Let's say the management say, oh, let's do some protocols. Let's write up a strong protocol, things to do in case of a pandemic. And then the EVS, or the Environmental Services, breaks into the meeting and says, can you please provide us some soap to wash our hands? Because we don't have any soap. Before we protect, we put the nice protocols that we have, the bylaws. Shouldn't we put our people first? Hand washing is the number one way that we can break infection. What good is the bylaws if you don't protect the people? If you don't protect the people, you don't listen to your people. What good are the bylaws, the manuals, if your people are being endangered? So I think at least they should listen. Have a discussion. I'm going to post more videos about this issue and give you some more updates, but I wish I had seen this video sooner. And what you guys think? Leave a comment below. Let's keep this going. And I do appreciate all your comments, and I apologize if I was a bit too late to this video, and if you haven't seen this, you probably are shocked as I am, but share this to whoever needs to see this, and let's keep the conversation going. And once again, God bless you all.